Hello, welcome. I'm Katrina, and this is FlossTube number 6. I'm glad you're here. It's nice to be visiting with you, and I'm excited to tell you about my week. Yesterday was Mother's Day, so we drove over. My mother-in-law lives about an hour from where we live, so we went over and had a really nice lunch with her and came back, and I had an elk loin that I had thawed out, so we had elk loin and shrimp and stir fry and some fried rice, and had a nice dinner. I thought about doing a video yesterday because I was all dressed up. In fact, my kids kept asking me like, why are you wearing this? Why do you have that necklace on? And I was like, wow, a year of the pandemic must have really lowered my fashion level or something, that they were so surprised to see me in like it was like a blouse shirt dress, and I had like a pearled necklace that I had gotten from my husband's other grandmother that she had given to us. Anyway, so I hope you had a great Sunday, a great Mother's Day. We have had, okay, so I was gonna tell you about the weather, and sometimes that makes me crazy when people talk about the weather, but we had a bunch of rain and a little bit of like slushy rain, almost snow. So what I wanted to say is we got a bunch done in the yard this week because I wanted to reseed the lawn before we got all that moisture. So I fenced off the upper portion of our yard so that the chickens couldn't come in and mess up the seeding. I'm not worried about them eating the grass seeds, but I was worried that once the seeds started to grow, to sprout, that they would start eating the new grass and ruin it. So anyway, they're fenced off. Our goose is very mad. She liked sitting by the doorstep and staring at us through the window. But they're just gonna have to live with it. So they're fenced off down there, and I was able to pull a bunch of weeds from my garden. And I say I pulled a bunch of weeds, but I didn't make very much progress. It's kind of getting away from me, so I'm gonna have to try to hustle and get those weeds under control before they grow too much. But I'll try to put a picture up here of my garden, and it looks really bad, but I do love a good before and after, so I'll put that picture up, and then as I go along, I'll give you guys some progress. Yeah, so I think that's kind of been our week. Not too crazy. I do have a lot of exciting stuff to share with you in regards to crafty things. I kind of branched out. I didn't get as much done this week on cross stitch, but I did make some progress on some other things. So we'll go over that. How'd I do? I always like it when people sip tea on their video. I don't know why, or coffee, but okay. Moving on. These are my Mother's Day cards. I thought I'd show you too. I got this from my mother-in-law and from my sister-in-law. My kids, I didn't want them to get me anything. I spent all Saturday catching up on quilt stuff, and I went to a garage sale and worked in the garden, and I just wanted them to not need anything. They're a little bit older. My oldest is 14, so they kind of took care of themselves and gave me the day, and that was gift enough. So I'm going to go over finishes to start with. This first finish is ugly to me, but I wanted it, so I made it as a quilt block in the home is, but my colors are too bright and it doesn't match. I wonder if I can swivel this just a little bit. So there is my home is quilt up on my layout wall there, and this block, I made it too bright and it just doesn't match, and I'm not very good at applique yet, and I just don't like it very much for the quilt. So I took it out of that setup and made it into a mug rug, and I was thinking about giving it to a neighbor of ours. She's very sweet and helps take care of our kids. Not take care of them, but like is kind to them and visits with them. And so I thought about giving it to her, but the binding is so ugly that I'm just going to use it for a mug rug here at home. So this is my little mug rug. I say they're crocuses. I guess they could just be a tulip. But the binding is just really terrible. I did the corners wrong. I'm not sure how. So it's bad. I tried to fix it. I tried to trim it a little bit. I don't know what I did. So it'll work fine for a mug rug, and it's not pristine and perfect, so I don't care if it gets, you know, little things spilled on it. So there is my first finish for this week. That is, and that block, if you want it, I can link to it. It's part of Pat Sloan's Home Is block of the week. So the other thing that is my finishes for the week, my daughter and I went to Target, and you know, scrunchies are a thing again. And so we saw some at the store, and she wanted some, and to me they were more expensive than they were worth. And so I was like, I've seen videos about scrunchies, I know I can make scrunchies. And so we just bought some regular hair ties. And then I did find a video. It's from Jess Okla Roots, and I'll link that as well. And you can just make scrunchies so easily. It's a 3.5 by 22 inch rectangle, and you just put right sides together and start sewing around. You kind of pull it around this as you go, and then sew the seam together here, and that's it. And you have scrunchies. I obviously don't have enough hair for a scrunchie, so I could wear mine on my wrist, right? That's okay. So anyway, these are the ones I've made for my daughter. She still has a couple more picked out. She likes the more neutral colors. These are the ones I made for her before I asked, when I was like what fabric she wanted, when I was just trying them out. So I guess maybe that's more my style. But okay, so I'll link to those. Those are really fun and easy to make. So scrunchies. Now for progress. I made regress, maybe. So I'm making this Biscornu pin cushion from Cross Stitcher magazine, and I actually was doing okay. I was moving right along. I'll show you this. I'm going to cover up this little part down here. So the outer two colors came with the kit, and I don't know if they're DMC or if they use something else. And then I was like, oh, I just got all of that thread from the Easy Stitch. And so, sorry, I wanted to, make sure I said that right. So I was like, I should try it out. So the blue inner row, and then all of these guys, the little confetti stitches, and this, like, these little guys here are the Easy Stitch thread. And it works really good. Like, it goes through the fabric nicely, and it doesn't fray, and it seems to lay really nice and flat, and it looks pretty. So I'm pretty pleased with it. So then, I don't know if I was half awake or what, but I made these inner green up here. So the teal kind of goes this way, and then the green goes off this way. And then I went to do it on the bottom, and I don't know what I did. I just started at the wrong spot and I just wasn't seeing it. You know, I was so focused on the up close details. So I'm going to take that out and redo that. So that's my progress and regress with the little Biscornu pin cushion. I love the word Biscornu as well. All right, so the next thing I'm going to show you in progress is part of Pat Sloan's Home Is block of the week, and that's what's up on my wall that I showed you. I'm doing blue and white. Last week I had shown you where I was having fabric troubles. I had made block 16, she calls it Hidden Treasures, and the first fabric I chose was warping. It was part of a scrap bag that I had gotten probably at a garage sale, or my aunt had given me a bunch of fabric, and every time I would press it, it would just, I don't know, it would warp and pull everything askew. So I tried a different stripe, and I didn't like the cream background. It looked kind of dirty, so that was this. It's just a little more of a cream, and against the bright white background I have in the other fabric, it didn't look very good. So then I just sat here one day and I was like, I don't have any more blue and white stripe. Like I kept looking through my blues and I couldn't find anything that looked good. So I just got all my bins down. They're little shoebox size bins with all my different colors, and opened them up and like started flipping through. And this is what I came up with, and I'm pretty happy with it. Let me get the thread off of here. There we go. I think it's supposed to be, it's sort of like a ribbon coming this way, but I didn't like that, so I did patchwork, and now to me it looks like two 90-degree angles in darker and lighter. So that's block 17 from Home Is. All right, and then we have, that was 16, sorry. So then we have 17 is, she calls it ding dong, like your front door. And so with all of Pat's block of the week, they have like these little themes. And so then you can go into her Facebook group and sort of like share stories that go with why you did your quilt block the way you did. I just picked fabric that I liked. I don't know why. I love this vintage sort of China animals. So we have a goose named Hazel that we love. So I chose a goose. And my mom and dad raised sheep. And so I chose a little lamb for that one. So this one, you made 2 blocks. And so I did that one. And then I just chose a floral that I like for this one. There's a right side up for me. And one of them runs vertically and one horizontally. That's why these guys go up and down this way, and then my fabric, not that you can really tell with this one, but to me it seems like it goes this way, so this one goes horizontally. All right, so that is block 17. And then this one, for some reason, was a very emotional block for me. My mom passed away on Easter, and she had been flown up to Seattle. I had to clip a thread there, to the hospital up there, and they called us and let us know that she was not doing well and that they would let us in because they have restrictions to who can come in, because we would probably be saying goodbye to her. So my husband and I flew up to Seattle, and she did pass away while we were there. And then our flight out wasn't for another day, so we had gone to like a fabric and stitch shop, and I wanted a fabric, I guess, to like sort of commemorate or be a memorial. I don't know. It's sort of morbid, I think, a little bit, because she passed away there. But, you know, it's one of those things, like, I don't know. I think quilts are good memory keepers. So I had bought this fabric, the Pacific Northwest fabric. So there's Mount Hood. No, I still don't have it right. It's nope, I'm just not even gonna try to say it. It's the mountain that's in Seattle. There's a whooping crane. There's the other part of the mountain. And my fabric goes sideways on 2 of them, and I thought about changing it, and it just doesn't bother me that much. So I have one little sideways tree there, and there's the top of the trees going sideways there. Yeah, anyway. So that is what Pat calls Fancy Dinner, is the name of that block. But to me, I mean, it's got that Seattle fabric in it, and it's very fragmented, which captures like kind of how I felt while we were up there. And then I was curious, I looked up sort of like the spiritual meaning of the whooping crane, and in Celtic Britain it's like a harbinger of death, and it can be sort of negative, but also I was like, well, that's appropriate, I guess. And then in China and Japan, cranes are associated with longevity, immortality. And so I was like, she passed away on Easter, and as Christians, you know, our belief is that she's in heaven, and we spend eternity there. And so the fact that the whooping crane in the fabric, and I didn't choose the whooping crane to be in the middle for that purpose. Like, I just, once I had it made, I was like just kind of curious, and so I went looking to see what the meaning and stuff was, and so I just thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know, so you can take it or leave it, but I thought it was interesting that that was the meaning of the whooping crane, and that was sort of what I unintentionally chose as the middle of my block, the focus of my block. So then that was my progress, and then my plans for this week. I'm gonna work on the Home Is layout. So there's little, because it's asymmetrical, should I try to show you again? Because it's asymmetrical, there's going to be like up, whoop, over here, like that, those blue lines weren't part of that block. You sort of add strips of fabric in to make it all even. You can see here, there's going to be some sort of strip of fabric to line things up. So I'm going to start working on cutting fabric for the layout this week. And then I had shown this, I may be shown it one other time, and I just haven't worked on it. It's the Here's Looking at You. I think part of the reason why I haven't worked on it is because the Kitten bond that I used, I had accidentally bought the Ultra, and so you're not really able to sew through it, and it doesn't stick down. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, I don't know, but it doesn't stay down all the way. And so parts of my little cow here, I'm just worried that they're not gonna stay stuck down. So if anybody knows, I'm thinking of using like Eileen's tacky glue or some sort of like permanent glue and gluing them down all the way. Otherwise, I think I need to cut them out again and use a different like heat and bond, because I did get some of the light, because then you can bond it down and then applique around it. So I'm gonna figure this out this week, because my aunt and uncle they're gonna be working calves on Memorial Day, and we're going down for that. And so I want to be able to give this to her when we go over. So I'm gonna figure it out, and I'm gonna finish it and be done with this project. I love this project and I hate it at the same time. It's been a challenge for me, which we grow through challenges, so maybe that's fine, but it hasn't been my favorite. And even though I like the way it looks, I'm kind of ready to be done. I'm ready to not have it here anymore. And then the other thing I want to do is I have, there, my hand sanitizer. All right. I have these quilting and cross stitch journals, and I'm kind of behind in filling things out. And by behind, I mean I haven't done any in this one. This I got from Cobweb Corner. She had a sale, and so I bought one of these. And then this is from A Quilting Life from Sherry McConnell. This is her, it's a planner, and it's sort of a quilting journal. So I haven't updated it for May yet, so I need to go in there and make some notes. So that's part of my plans for this week. And then I'm going to do the April and May block of the month for A Quilting Life. I started on May, and I haven't done April, but May is a whole bunch of little baskets, and I'm doing the 6-inch size blocks. So I've done that one, and this guy. And then for May, it's the little baskets, but there's 4 baskets within that 6-inch block. So they're super tiny and fiddly. And like with this one, there were also 4 of these stars in each like corner here, but she does have the option to just take one from her larger block and make that into your 6-inch size block. So that's what I had done for this one. I just wasn't feeling the tiny pieces that time, but this go round, I want to try all of that little tiny piecing. And so these are my squares. Yes. Here, this is my little stack so far. So luckily I had, when I cut off like half square triangles where you don't use both sides, or even, you know, like, so there's this guy, it used to be this, and that green went all the way over. In fact, I probably still have, let's just pretend this matches. So it would have been like that, and you cut it in half. So I don't use this backside. So I just keep that and use it as leaders and enders when I'm sewing. Just so I just run it through the machine, and then that thread is in this. So when I start another block, it's not gonna get all jammed up. So I had a whole bunch of these, gobs of them. And so I'm just trimming those down and making my block for May. And I don't know, this is an I think that Pat Sloan had recommended this. It's the Quilt in a Day 6.5-inch triangle square up ruler. And so it works really nice. Maybe I should leave that back in there. Because I can like turn it this way and line it up with the size of my block and cut off the dog ears. And then I just flip it around and line up the seam there. And then I just trim off the edges to size. So it hasn't been too much trouble to get those trimmed down, and hopefully I will get that block made up pretty soon. So, otherwise for plans, oh, I do want to do the April block too. I just haven't started it yet. And then Pat Sloan releases another weekly block on Wednesday. So for haul, I do not have anything craft related. Oh, but my mother-in-law, when I showed you my Mother's Day card, she did give me a gift card for Joann's. So I'm sure I'll have something next week. But what I do have for haul is from Target. And they're not really intended to be used in the craft room, but they work really well. So they have these, what do I call them? A wet dry pouch. And I have this one, and I also have a larger sized one, and I like to use them for project bags. So I think they're $3 in their little dollar spot. And Jan Hicks, in her video last week, I think, she was talking about how in their RV, they had a window leak, and it got all over one of her projects and like just ruined it. And so I was like, maybe an even better like reason to have these wet dry pouches so that it protects your work in case, you know, like I carry mine in my bag a lot or in the car, so if it falls on the floor or out of my bag, it'll help protect it. So I like these. I've been picking up a few here and there. And then I really like their makeup organizers for all of my sewing notions. So I've got like the sewing feet that I use a lot, the brush for my sewing machine, I have a compass in there, my little tiny rotary cutter, chalk pencils and things like that. And then underneath, I don't think I have anything in there now. Oh, I do have I have a bobbin of the one thread that I use a lot. So anyway, there's that one that I had bought before. I didn't see any of these when I was just there, but they might still have them. And then they had this other style when I was there this week. And so the top lifts off and there's room under there. And then it has the shallower top. So in my other one, I can put pencils and rotary cutters. This one would just be for smaller things. So far I've got my seam ripper, and then these are my alphabetties that I keep in here. So anyway, that is all I've got for haul. And then I'm supposed to be doing stitch school for Mania, and I would say I am. Not every day, but I don't think there's any rules for Mania. So what I've been focusing on this week, mostly because of that little Biscornu pin cushion, because there's like one little stitch there, or all of these little guys that I don't want to carry the thread over for because they're fairly dark. I've been working on doing confetti stitches. So far what I use the most is a pinhead stitch or a pin stitch. That just seems to work the best, but I'm still trying to figure out if there's a quicker way to just get little individual stitches in. So if anybody has any suggestions, I'm open to suggestion. So that's all I've got for tips and tricks and things that I've learned this week, as far as I know. Like I said, I didn't do a lot of stitching this week, so I don't have too much to show you. With the giveaway, I announced it last week. I'm gonna wait until I have at least 10 entries. I have 30 subscribers, so you know, if a third of you actually I think I have 34. I appreciate all of you though. You know, I hear a lot about people that wake up and all of a sudden they've got 1,000 subscribers and they don't know where they came from, and I think that would be really cool. But also you know, just as I'm working my way along and being consistent and meeting more of you, and I feel like I really appreciate each and every subscriber that comes along. So thank you all. So if I can get to at least 10 entries into the giveaway, then I'll do the drawing. So the giveaway is from CutePatterns by Maria. It's called Tea with Milk, and you'll be able to see that in the photo. If you'd like to enter for that, make sure you're a subscriber to the channel. You need to be 18 years or older, because I'll need to ask for, actually, you don't need to be 18 years or older, I guess, because it's a PDF. So it'll be emailed to you. Let's just keep the 18 years or older though. So I don't know about asking for email. So we'll just keep it at 18 or older. Oh, and you need to comment with the word tea. So you can tell me about your favorite tea. You can tell me that you don't like tea. You can tell me about your favorite coffee because you don't drink tea, whatever. So just leave a comment with the word TEA, tea in it, and that'll get you entered. Otherwise, if you guys want to follow me on Facebook, I'll have the Instagram and Facebook links down below. And then if you'd like to support the channel, I will also put the Buy Me a Coffee link below. And then I'll also keep a running list of the floss tubers and quilters, and I even have some gardeners that I've been watching a lot this week. I'll make a list of those channels. I'll run through a couple real quick. There's for cross stitch, Just Keep Stitchin' is always my favorite. The Fat Quarter FlossTube, I really like those, and their Stitchy Talks because they have great cameras, and so it helps me to be able to see how Kimberly is stitching and sort of get some tips from her. Oh, I found Stitch Roadies. I've watched Quilt Roadies for a while, and I just realized she has a FlossTube channel as well. So she's very sweet. Kitten Stitcher is Shakespeare's Peddler, the designer, and so I just found her and started watching her. Modern Folk Embroidery has a lot of really neat designs, and he's interesting to watch. The Real Housewives of Cross Stitch, Priscilla and Chelsea, I just like, they have a fast-paced, creme-packed episodes that are fun to watch. Elizabeth Can Stitch. She's very cheerful and upbeat, and her videos just make me happy. Dizzy Stitcher. And then with quilting, there's A Quilting Life. Pat Sloan, Fat Quarter Shop, again has a YouTube channel. And then as far as gardening goes, Roots and Refuge Farm has some interesting stuff going on right now. Honey Tree Farm always is good for if you're wanting to learn more about gardening or getting like a market garden set up. He has a lot of great info. He goes into more of the science of it, especially in their early videos. Maybe not the science, but really, well, the science and just how to get in there and take it from theory to application. So, and then the haulers are really good. So I'll link all those down below. I think that's it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed sitting with me and chatting about all the projects. Maybe you got a few things done. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you're working on. And other than that, I guess we will talk to you next week. Thank you.